So every email template, almost exclusively that I have built, is something that eliminates the need for a meeting.
Understand what he just said. Hours of time will be saved.
The first one that your listeners should understand is, what does version 1 look like? That's a question you should write down.
What if the solution to growing your business was about systems? Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Probert.
Hey, guys, I'm Jonathan's co-host, Laura DeFranco. Welcome to Systemized.
We're here to talk to successful entrepreneurs about the systems that help them grow their business. It's what we wanted to know when we started ours, and it's what's going to help you build yours. Today, we're excited to welcome infinite banker Richard Canfield to the show. How's it going, Richard?
Excited to be with you guys here today. I love the show. I love what you guys are doing, helping a lot of business owners understand how they can move forward, take steps to become more efficient, more systematic, and more importantly, be in an area where they can get their time back.
Thanks for those words. It's always a great help to help other entrepreneurs. But let me tell you guys about Richard first. In 2009, Richard's life changed completely when he read the book, Becoming Your Own Banker, Unlocking the Infinite Banking Concept by R. Nelson Nash. Nash became his personal friend and mentor, and Richard now teaches his powerful message of financial hope and control. Richard is passionate about putting people in the driver's seat of their financial life, creating durable and dependable wealth. He works with families, business owners, and real estate investors to strategize how they can keep more of their hard-earned money that flows through their hands over a lifetime.
Richard, we're excited to have you. You know, you and I met through the Epic Network. I was excited to meet you, and I started to learn a little bit about infinite banking. You did a really amazing presentation. I enjoyed learning about that a lot. There is a lot to this topic, you guys, so get ready.
All right, Richard.
We have a lot of fun with it, that's for sure. But because of the type of education that we do, we actually need a lot of systems, because it's something that takes a lot of education to decide if it's something you want to do. So it's a long sales process. And you could say it that because that's how any business owner would look at it. But it's an education process fundamentally. And because it can take a while for people to rewrite brain patterns that they've developed over 10, 20, 30 years of living, we need to have proper systems in place to make sure that they can follow that educational journey to be able to come out on the other side and say, yeah, hey, Richard, your team, I really want to move forward and do this. And so we actually need systems quite desperately to do that in an effective way.
And talking about those systems, can you tell us something that you implemented into your business that saves you time, effort, money, or whatever else?
Well, I'm going to mention two primary things. They're a little bit interconnected. The first one to me is just email templates. Now, that on its own sounds really basic and generic, and it is, but the type of email templates I'm talking about, I've probably got 35 or 40 of them that are very specific to client-specific questions, prospect-specific questions, resources to send out. They're all literally designed and based on things that will take me 15, 30 minutes, 1 hour to explain to somebody. Things that would take me a long time or a booked meeting. So every email template, almost exclusively that I have built, is something that eliminates the need for a meeting. It's not that I don't want to meet with people. I love meeting with people, but I want to meet with people who have already gone through the information. And so I've become, the chief resource officer within my business on making sure I'm just getting people to the resource. And all the email templates I have are designed to create that resource mechanism. I literally built 3 of them this week. One of them has had to do with a client who's interested in transferring an insurance policy from one corporation to another, and there's potential tax consequences. The degree to which I would have to have a conversation with that individual is pretty extravagant. So I put a bunch of resources together. I created the email template. I created a document that he would need to sign to indicate that he's read that email. And it's a cover your butt letter fundamentally, because I don't want to take the risk of him making that change and having something bad happen. I want him to be informed so he's making a valuable decision. So that template is now in place and it's ready to go. And then I notified other members of our team. We have approximately 35 advisors across USA and Canada. And now that template, while it is primarily Canadian in this instance, it is available to every member of that team. So that template now is a system that, while it only gets sent in random occurrences, It saves meetings for not just me, but for everyone on the team. So now it becomes a 10x multiplier on time.
Oh my gosh, Jonathan, I got to break in on this one for a
Go
second.
for it.
Okay. Like you got me so excited, Richard. Like you guys rewind this part of the interview, go back to the beginning of when he's talking about email templates and go slow and understand what he just said. Hours of time will be saved. When I started to do email templates, Richard, and I am not at the level you're at, so you just gave me a little super boost of what I'm going to do next. Was already a time saver. And it takes a while, you guys. You got to get all those emails done. But even if you have to edit slightly, imagine just having to edit slightly and customize for WS. So I just had to break in because I'm kind of in love with that first answer, Richard. Thank you.
Well, there's something about that I want to mention to both of you and your listeners is like, I learned a lot about how to do this for myself. It was difficult for me initially. Now it's just like, oh my God, I'm just looking for a reason to write an email template. Like, give me I want to template the crap out of everything. Yes. And I have to do a shout out to my friend, Tim Francis, who owns a company called Profit Factory. He's who really helped me start getting down that path because I was, as a high quick start, Laura, you and I have a similar Colby score, that head down, just go for it. I can get anything accomplished. I can do it on my own kind of mindset. That Superman mentality was the detriment to me. And what a couple of questions came into my training with Tim and over the years that have really helped me. The first one that your listeners should understand is, what does version 1 look like? That's a question you should write down. That's rolling around in my brain at all times. We often think that we need this version 10 system. We need to build this thing and it's going to be all this, we need all these bells and whistles and automations and click this and click that. Well, an email template can be built into an automation, but does it need to be? Version 1 is just the email. And the email doesn't even have to be very good. It could be 80% of what you want, but it's 80% greater than the email that didn't exist prior to you writing it. That's okay. How many of my templates have I gone back and modified? Probably all of them at some point. And you know how? I got feedback from someone because I sent it out. And I also sent it to other people in my industry saying, hey, what do you think of this? So I got real world feedback to make the edits to move forward at some measure of speed. So the key question is, what does version 1 look like? And if you get really clear on that, you'd be surprised how easy it is to get version 1 operational.